the base of supporters that so vehemently believes in Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, it doesn't matter if they turn off the supporters that believe in Donald Trump, because they believe in Donald Trump no matter what he does, obviously. Secondly, we're not talking about the left. We're talking about a whole lot of people in the middle, and that's where the danger for Trump is. The left can say anything they want. The left isn't going to support him no matter what. So, I mean, even if he were a reasonable person, the left wouldn't support him, because the left is the left and the right is the right. The problem here is not just first. You've got two what I think are toxic combinations, both for the United States and for the Republicans. First of all, you have a guy who's president who most people don't respect in this country, and certainly they don't respect him around the world. Even the conservative prime minister of Australia was caught on tape at their equivalent of the Correspondents' dinner making fun of Trump, which I can't imagine happening under any other president in the United States, both either Republican or Democrat, certainly not by a conservative prime minister. Secondly, the big problem they have is the outrageous legislation that's being passed by Mitch McConnell, which is going to strip 23 million people of their health care and save a whole lot of money in Medicaid and turn it over to people like Donald Trump, who are going to get a big fat tax breaks where the middle class gets nothing. That is not going to help them, and that's a toxic combination. The right has been out of step with where America is for a long time. Trump doesn't mind alienating as long as he has his core constituencies. His core constituency says somewhere between 29 and 35%. That is not enough to win an election.
But Howard, you say the right has been out of step, and that was basically the conventional wisdom during the election, and Donald Trump won, and Republicans won majorities in both the House and the Senate. And you're talking about finding those middle voters that don't agree with the president, and this big swath of the country that doesn't respect him, doesn't like him, doesn't think that he's fit for office. There was a big swath of the country that thought all of those things during the election, but he still won. So there seems to be a disconnect when I look at this, and I hear people say to me on this show, no, don't worry, to those who are up in arms about this presidency, that there's enough of the country that will be able to push back and take him out of office. But the reality is this man has not changed a little bit, even an iota, since the election. So if there wasn't going to be a majority of this country that was going to come out and make sure that he wasn't voted in back then, what changes now? What's the difference maker?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of the Trump voters are not the far-right nutcases with guns who want to, shoot up the place. Most of the Trump voters are people.
I don't think anyone was defining them that way.
No, but there certainly are some of them. And the NRA put an appalling ad out there, which really basically made the statement that the NRA was now a white supremacist group. I couldn't believe the ad I saw. So there are far-right people who are crazy for Donald Trump. That is not the majority of Trump voters. I think the majority of Trump voters, certainly some of whom I've talked to, simply wanted a real change and didn't think Hillary was going to be the candidate of change, which is accurate. I personally think Hillary. I personally think Hillary would have been a great president, but that's not where there weren't enough electoral votes that agreed with my position. Now what Trump has done, and I think the right wing of the Republican Party has done with the repeal of Obamacare, is to alienate all those people in the middle who hope for real change. And well, they got some change, all right. They got a change which is an embarrassing to the United States of America, which we all love.
But part of that group that the governor's talking about are also people who still to this day say they are very unhappy with Donald Trump, but I could not have voted for Hillary Clinton. So we probably need to really see where Donald Trump stands after a midterm, after there's an election in between, because that's where a lot of people are. They still won't say, I would rather have voted for Hillary Clinton.
I think it all comes down to, very pessimistically, to politics, unfortunately, at least as of now. Former DNC chair and MSNBC contributor Howard Dean, appreciate it, sir. And